Hello, theater makers. My name is Ken Davenport. This is day 5 of the Take Charge of Your 2021 Theater Makers Challenge with me, Amber Iman, Tony Rockwell, Tony Howell, Kate Rockwell, and a very special surprise guest. Day 5 begins right now.
Theater makers, this is our year. Come on, give a great big cheer. 2020's finally done. Now it's time to take charge of your 2021. Yeah!
We're off to a heck of a start here on Friday. I just merged them backstage right now. Welcome back to the challenge, everybody. This is day 5 of the Take Charge of Your 2021 Theater Makers Challenge. How's everybody doing today? Everybody good? How was day 4 for everybody? Did everyone enjoy day 4? Everyone have that jingle. Oh, Santiago, we're going to hear more about that jingle in just a minute. Good afternoon, Gary. Can't help but sing along. Doug DeVita says, I'm back. Look, everyone's here. Hello, Nicole. Hello, Tim. Great. As you can see, I've adjusted where my comments are on my screen, and I'm already regretting it. Yep, it's probably why I screwed up Tony and Kate's name at the beginning of the show, because I was like, oh, I've got a new arrangement, a new structure, and then I married Tony and Kate. So welcome back, everyone. Everyone looks like they loved day 4. I'm going to make this adjustment right now, live and on the air. I'm putting all those comments back to where they were. There we go. Michael, great week, says someone on Facebook. Early in LA, love the homework. We did have a great day yesterday. In case you missed it, it's okay. Go back into that Facebook group that we have and go check out Rodrick Covington's chat. Hey, he talked about his LET strategy, his LET strategy. And then Susan Blackwell and Laura Camien from the Spark File, they had that great collaborator questionnaire on how to find not just any collaborator, but the perfect collaborator. This is actually a question we get so often at the Theater Maker Studio is, how do I find a collaborator? How do I find a collaborator? And one of the things we try to impress everybody is that it's not just any collaborator, right? Actually, speaking of marrying Kate and Tony, finding a collaborator, a great one, is like a marriage, right? Lynn Ahrens and Stephen Flaherty talk about this all the time, and they've been collaborators for decades. It's a marriage, right? So you don't just want to find a husband, a wife, a spouse, a partner, whatever. You want to find a great one. You want to find a great one. And what I loved about Susan and Laura's questionnaire and that process that they go through, it wasn't just about like, oh God, I need to find someone today because I want my musical up next week. Take some time. Put a process behind it. Get real focused on what you want. Ask the universe what you want in that collaborator partner, right? Find out to yourself, ask yourself, who is the type of collaborator I will work best with that will also challenge me to be a better writer, Okay, so that questionnaire is in the Facebook group. Go check that out. And then I talked about my 90-day action plan on how to plan out, on take a moment and think about what you're going to do over the next 90 days. Actually, all of you, there's a theme to yesterday because Rodrick talked about planning meals and planning your health and your well-being, mindfulness. Susan and Laura talked about planning what kind of collaborator you want, a real process there. And I talked about planning your next 90 days. This is something that I struggle with. As you can probably tell by how fast I talk on these things, I'm a go, like, let's do it, let's commit to it, let's get it done. And that can serve me 75% of the time. 25% of the time, it actually gets me into trouble. So I have to remind myself to slow down a little bit, plan, right? If I go too fast, I say Kate Howell or Tony Rockwell. Anyway, back to it. Speaking of, it's Friday. It's day 5. Speaking of yesterday's chats, how many people did the homework? Who did it? I was in that Facebook group. I know a bunch of you did it. I know these exercises are getting harder. If you haven't done it yet, go back. Do yesterday, the day before. Catch up. You can catch up on this class. It's important. Not just to win a prize, but also just for your future, what you want. The reason you signed up for this challenge, the reason you signed up for it is because you want to be different. you want to change, right? That these assignments are going to help you do just that. Just that. Make sure you do it. We have a winner. We give away a prize every single day. As you know, the winner of today's homework contest, the winner is Larry. I almost said Kate Rockwell. The winner is Larry Fetcho. Larry, you have won a complimentary video editing session with Katie Goffman, up to a 30-minute video she will edit to you for free. Larry, congratulations. What a prize this is at this time when everyone's streaming. That's what we're doing. Everyone's doing stuff online, making videos, making virtual demos. I just did this for every single one of my musicals in development, and Katie edited them. Okay, so we're giving you a free editing session I just paid a whole bunch of money for this. I just paid a whole bunch of money for this, and you guys are getting it for free. So congratulations, Larry. We'll talk about that later. So the prize for tomorrow, we have 2 prizes for tomorrow, by the way. Tony Howell is going to talk about that. But one of the big prize is, of course, we are giving away an iPad for whoever has completed all of the assignments. We're going to pick one of you at random, an iPad, the ultimate work from home setup, iPad, ring light, a whole bunch of other fun stuff. So make sure you go back. Now time is running out for you to complete all the assignments. So do one of those late night college cram session, all-nighters, drink a whole bunch of coffee, and get the stuff done so you can not only have a chance of winning an iPad, but you can also just get ahead. Okay, these are the things that will absolutely have an impact on whatever it is you're trying to do in the theater or in life. Okay, I am going to announce the winner of that iPad on Saturday. If you missed this, on Saturday, I'm doing a bonus day, a special bonus day of the challenge. The challenge is not over. Look at that fancy graphic they did. We are going to have a special day on Saturday. There have been so many questions and ideas and thoughts about all the tips from the speakers that we're going to recap them. I'm going to go down and we're going to recap them. I'm going to get some thoughts from all of you. I'm going to answer any questions you may have on anything, frankly, related to the theater. Anything related to the theater, I'm going to answer those questions for you. And get this, we also have the opportunity to bring a few of you on live to ask your question. So if you check out the Facebook group later, the instructions are going to be there on how you can post your question now and ask it live on the air in front of all our challenge participants. And we'll go back and forth with it. I'll do a little bit. I do these mini consults sometimes where I hear about a challenge, a question, an obstacle, and I try to crush it. I try to find an answer to it. And I always try to leave my folks with one thing that they can do to get through that obstacle. So we're going to do that live with a few of you on Saturday, which is when I'm going to announce that winner. And you got to be there to win. Yeah, those are the rules. It's a big prize. You have to be there to win. Okay, so put it in your calendar now, and we'll announce it on Saturday. We've been assembling a little bit of frequently asked questions about everything that's been happening this week because so much stuff has been happening. By the way, Rebecca Gilmore, One Day More. I hope you just sang that out. I love it. One Day More. I love it. A few more people. Yes, One Day More. I'm not going to do my best Jean Valjean. We'll leave that to some other folks. Maybe Kate will come on and do that later. A few of you have asked some questions. Let me answer them for you now. Many of you have said, oh, someone just said it. I was so inspired by Rodrick and his classes. How can I forget? What was that domain? Or Laura and Susan, or any of the speakers we've had this week, Mandy Gonzalez's book, what she's doing, all of it. We are going to let you all know what all of our speakers are up to and how you can connect with them, okay? And if you want to work with them, great. You'll be able to reach out to them. We're going to get all that information gathered to you, and we're going to get it to you next week. So keep your eyes open for that. And you can also obviously just go and watch the replays. Okay, many of you asked me to throw up the slide about the action journals that we have for you. These have been big hits. A bunch of them have been moving. So that is the website if you want the action journal. My big 3 concept, which again, I borrowed from somebody else. My big 3, but it's been so influential in my life, is in the action journal for artists. Okay, so this is a great tip. Journaling alone these journals alone, they will help you. You will be further on in like a week if you just journal, right? If you only did that. So go ahead, if you want one of those, grab it. Also a reminder, we are now down to 48 hours left to join Theater Maker Studio for free. We are shutting down the free trial, closing the doors. That's it. No more free trials. You can pay to join after that, but something tells me you'd rather join for free. Get 30 days for free right now. Go there, and we'll put the link in the chat and get in. Check it out. Kick the tires. And if it's not for you, it's not for you. Jump out, but check it out if you can. Let's bring on Kate Howell. Shall we bring Kate Howell on right now? Sorry.
I'm just saying, if there's going to be somebody that you accuse me with, I'll take Tony Howell. Absolutely.
It's like the biggest, like most offensive thing you can do to an actor is like mispronounce their name. It's like the worst. I apologize.
I prefer that to like, have you been in Wicked? Which is my favorite thing that anyone asks anyone on Broadway, is that we've all been in Wicked. And I'm always like, no, actually, I'm still trying to get that. So I think the name swap isn't the worst thing.
Well, if it's any consolation, the producer version of the Are You in Wicked is like, are you a producer on Hamilton? I swear to you, I can't tell you how many times in airports pre-COVID, you're like, oh, Hamilton? Are you? No. Not, I'm going to find my own. That's what I usually do.
I'm working on creating my own Hamilton. Thank you.
Any fun stories from yesterday's VIP?
You know what was so cool about yesterday, Ken, is that it was like a really emotional day. I felt like there was a lot of vulnerability in that room yesterday, which is kind of we actually talked about how in our time of Zoom, we've managed to create really in-depth, like intimate conversations among people through this crazy software that we're using. And I felt like the whole day was that way, talking with Rodrick about the necessity of boundaries and how to draw those boundaries and how to say no so that you have room to say yes. And then having Laura and Susan in there. I mean, we had so many really personal stories coming out about what people's experience had been in terms of their process of creation. And those two women are so inspiring. Listening to them speak was it just gives you so much hope, in a time of great confusion. So I thought yesterday was a real vulnerable day.
Well, that's what happens in these small groups. I'm a big fan of creating these intimate masterminds, small groups, whatever you call them. So thanks for being backstage all week. This
Absolutely.
is your last chance to chat with Kate Rockwell. We'll send you back there now. Say bye-bye to Kate, everybody. If you are a VIP member, if you bought a ticket this week, you can go back there now. The ticket is valid all week. If you have not yet gotten your ticket, today is the last day. They're half price. And remember, every ticket that we sell, we buy a ticket to send a kid, New York City public kid, to see a Broadway show. So it's going to charity. Broadway Bridges and the Situation Project are the two charities that we are helping out this week. If you have a chance, Google them. They're incredible organizations. Put them on your donate list whenever you get a chance, because they're helping build the next audience for Broadway right from inside New York City. Tickets are 50% off again today, since there's only one day left. And go ahead and click that link that is in the comments right now. All right, we're ready to get going. We're going to get into it now. We have a surprise guest. We're going to kick off with a surprise guest. Santiago, I think it was, said that theme song, I can't get it out of my head. And many of you have said it this week. I'm going to bring on now the composer of that and the lyricist of that theme song as well. This guy has literally helped start one of the biggest revolutions in musical theater in decades. I brought him on because of that. He took a kernel of a song on TikTok, added some arrangements, and the next thing you know, the Ratatouille musical movement was born. And the other reason I wanted to have him on, he's such a shining example of what happens when you take whatever you do, your unique skill and talent, and in his case, 15, 60-second bursts of musical awesomeness, you put it out into the world, and the next thing you know, he's music directing the musical Ratatouille on Broadway. It's a big benefit for the Actors Fund, which raised $2 million. And He was just signed by CAA. That's right. Please welcome new CAA client, composer, lyricist, Daniel Mertzluft.
Hi, Ken. How's it going?
How are you?
I'm great. What an intro. Thank you. I was like, oh, that's so fun to hear like people actually like say that out loud.
Well, it's so true. It's really true. And congratulations on all the success so far. I just have one favor to ask. You have to put at the top of your resume, no matter how many Tony Awards you win, compose Theater Makers Challenge theme song. You have
100%.
in your bios, everything.
Get my EGOT, and then that'll still be up there.
Yeah. So listen, I want to. We're going to start with a very practical tip. You are really helped again make the theater community aware of TikTok. We're a little late to the tech party often. So for all the viewers out there right now who are not on TikTok, who are on TikTok, who want to get more into TikTok, don't know what TikTok is, give everyone a TikTok tip. One tip that you can give them about creating content or getting it to go viral, whatever that may be.
100%. You know, to make something go viral, you can't. Like, it's just, you never know. But something that I did for my videos that have taken off is I really just treat everything that I put onto that platform with the same gravity, the same craft that I do when I do anything else. Yes, it's fun little videos. Yes, they're parodies. Yes, they are, all less than a minute. But I take them just as seriously as if I were doing any other project. And those are the ones that people really enjoy. Clearly seeing like that the craft is good, that the production value is really good. I mean, like, I fully orchestrate them. I have my friends join me for vocals, and they're just fun. And I think also it's all in the same thing, but take care when you're posting and also do stuff that you're passionate about. And everything I post in those, I think are hilarious, and I hope other people do as well. I'm not trying to like hop onto things like, oh, I want to be the next viral person. It's just, I thought this was funny, and then it happened to take off and lead to where I am today.
It's incredible. So talk just a little bit about that. Did you have any idea that any of this would happen? And how does it feel to go from, oh, you were just an emerging musical theater composer, lyricist. The next thing you know, you're on James Corden's show, you've got millions of views, and this happened in just a matter of a couple of months. So talk to me about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's been really wild. My first video that went viral was like 3 months ago, and then from there it went to Ratatouille, and then the James Corden thing, and then coming on as arranger and music supervisor for Ratatouille. It's just like, it's been absolutely a wild ride. But again, the entire time it's just been, it's all about craft, and everything I put out is that way. And I work with an amazing lyricist a lot of the time named Kate Leonard, and the stuff that we put out for Ratatouille, we treated it with the same amount of care that we did anything else. Of course it's for TikTok, of course it's for that. But it's just really been a wild ride also to see people excited to hear what I'm working on, and I'm connecting with the amazing team at CAA and Craft Angle. It's just been, it's been a really, really wild ride, but I hope that it's because, that it's clear that I really care about what I'm doing. And I'm passionate about it, whether that is the challenge, of telling a story in 1 minute, or some of my larger projects.
Well, congratulations again on all the success, much deserved. We're going to hear a lot from you, I am sure, on TikTok and on much bigger actual stages very soon. Thanks for coming and joining us today and sharing your stuff.
Thanks so much, and thanks for having me write the song. It's been so fun. Thank you.
Daniel Mertzluft, everybody. You can follow him on TikTok. Go check it out. Go watch his videos. It's real great. Such an amazing tip. Often we think of social media, oh, it's just this free thing. I'm just going to throw out a couple comments. Those aren't the things that take off. You can see that he really spends a lot of time. If you watch his videos, it's about craft. The guy's actually a classically trained pianist, right? He puts that kind of energy and craft into everything he does, and it pays off. Focus. Spend time. Don't just throw stuff out into the world. Really, if you want it to take off, it's about care. It's about craft. So that's Daniel's tip. Thanks him. Oh, look, amazing, Daniel. Thanks. Lots of great. There's his TikTok link. My Theater Maker Studio team throwing that in the chat. So already a little bonus tip for you today. But we're going to get to our second guest now. So I'm so thrilled to have her here. So Amber Iman is one of those actresses that I've noticed for years. I've seen her in a lot of things, and I'm like, who's that? Who's that? She's amazing. And I've always been a fan of her talent. And then I've become more aware of her over the last 6 months. She's the co-founder of the amazing organization, the Broadway Advocacy Coalition, which sponsored, by the way, these terrific forums on racism within the Broadway community over the summer. These forums actually made my top 10 list, Broadway top 10s in 2020. So go to the Broadway Advocacy Coalition website. If you haven't seen these forum videos, you must. It's a very important part of what every single one of us needs to do to help move our industry forward. So go do that. And Amber was one of those founders. I actually had her in to speak to my Inner Circle group about that work and her work as a performer as well. And in the middle of all that, I found out that she wrote, directed, and produced her own award-winning short film called Steve the Short. And my eyes kind of rolled back in my head, and I was like, this woman, this is a perfect example of the entrepreneur, someone who takes their career in their own hands and makes stuff happen. And to share some information and some tips on how she does just that is Amber Iman.
Hi, Ken. How are you?
Good to see you again.
You too. Thanks for having me here today.
It's my pleasure. I'm going to let you.
And thanks for that fabulous introduction.
Oh.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Amber Iman, and I guess I'm a theater maker. I think the funny thing about being a theater maker is I didn't really want to be a theater maker. I wanted to be a more passive theater maker. I wanted to be an actor. Because I like to think of actors as glorified toddlers. We get paid to say words that we didn't write on stages that we didn't build, in costumes that we didn't make, under lights that we didn't hang, and we get all the praise and all the glory and all the fame. So I'm very big on, let's not romanticize what actors do. We're just playing dress up and getting paid a lot of money. And I had a dream of the way that I thought my career would kind of be and take off. The dream was something like walking through, let's say Central Park, Times Square or Central Park, either one. And it's raining, not too much rain, just like a light mist, enough that my skin is glossy and luxurious and hydrated, and I look very expensive. And a producer is walking through the park or Times Square, and he sees me, and he's like, you're the one. You're the face that I've been looking for and waiting for my whole life. And he has the perfect script and the perfect role and the perfect budget and the perfect challenge for me to be able to tap in and create. And I win my perfect Tony, and I find my perfect husband, and I run off to perfect Hollywood, and I'm never poor again. That's what I wanted to happen. I think for a lot of actors, that is also the dream. So I moved to New York City, and the producer did not see me in Central Park. There was no rain, but I did get to make my debut as the High Priestess of Soul, Nina Simone. And I got to wear the perfect gowns and sing the perfect songs. And though the show was not perfect, it was the most wonderfully, glamorously, gorgeously experience to be my Broadway debut. Now, my show closed in 99 days, which is, all of you know, it was a flop. But I thought that role and that show would kind of set me up. And the Tony Wing would be calling, and Broadway would be calling, and Hollywood would be calling, and no one called. In fact, I went from my Broadway debut year in 2013 to 2014. I worked only 8 weeks out of 52. I lost my health insurance, and I felt like I was just kind of going down the hill. This was supposed to be the dream, though. The Broadway debut is the dream, and everything happening after that is a part of the dream. And things felt way more like a nightmare. I remember doing a workshop in 2015, and Billy Porter came to see me in this workshop. And in this particular show, I played characters that range from age 6 to 68. And he came up to me after the workshop, and he said, I don't know you, but I see a lot of me in you. I see a lot of you in me. And he said, your job is going to be to not go crazy while they figure out what to do with you. He said you have a lot of talent, you can do all the things, but you're a Black woman of a certain shape and a certain size and a certain color. And people are not going to know what to do with that. And you're probably going to lose patience, and you're probably going to get tired, and you're going to be offered roles that you feel like do not allow you to tap into your fullest potential. And he said, you can either go crazy or you can go over here and write your own destiny. And I heard him, but I didn't really receive him because I still had that perfect dream in my mind of the producer in Times Square / Central Park. I didn't want to be an active theater maker. I wanted theater to happen to me. And some time passed and I did some shows and I played some roles that didn't really give me the opportunity to do me in the best way that I wanted to do me. It's not that the roles were bad. It's just they were not roles that were challenging or roles that allowed me to tap into my fullest potential. And sometimes when you are consistently cast in what feels like, you know, a role that is tree number 3, there's only so many times that you can play tree number 3 before you start to think, well, maybe I can only be tree number 3. It sounds silly, but it is such a reality for a lot of actors. So it was slowly over time that I started to remember what Billy said. And I realized that I would have to reframe the way I thought about my career. And I'd have to take a more active approach to my life, that I would actually have to write my own destiny. I think that's a huge, huge, huge thing for actors. It's a source of a lot of fear because I'm kind of old school and I'm like, well, I don't have a degree in writing. I have not studied writing for the screen. I have not studied playwriting. So I am not really a writer. But if we reframe the way we think about things as an actor, how many times do I audition a year? How many scripts am I sent a year? How many scripts do I read? I can read about 3 to 5 pages of a script before I know this is terrible or this is amazing. And there's sometimes when I'm reading through these scripts, I'll be like, oh, if they change that line to that, it would be much better. Or the script, this timing is off. It's not going quick enough. And so when I start thinking about that, I'm like, it may be passively, but I kind of am a writer. And then when I have to do a self-tape or an audition, I'm kind of directing myself. I'm making choices. I'm saying, oh, Amber, don't do this, try that. So I'm kind of self-directing. And then when I have to do a self-tape and I reach out to certain actor friends because I'm like, oh, she would be perfect for this character. She'd be perfect to read with me. Well, I'm kind of a casting director too. So if we reframe the way we think about things and the way we think about ourselves, we kind of have all the tools that we need to actively be theater makers. It's just about changing the way we think about ourselves, changing the way we think about our skill set, changing the way we think about the opportunities that we have to create. For actors, a lot of our jobs, a large part of our job is waiting on the phone to ring, waiting on the agent to call, waiting on the producer to decide to do the right show in this season. And I think to be active theater makers, active creators, we have to stop waiting. We have to start doing. So Ken told you about my baby, my short film, Steve. First film I ever wrote. So far, we've been accepted into about 30 film festivals. And the short has won Best Comedy, Best Short, Best Actor, and Best Screenplay multiple times. Now, remember, I was waiting on the producer in Central Park. And suddenly, I am a successful award-winning writer, producer, executive, producer, star, ///. And I remember when I was trying to attempt to begin Steve, I knew the story that I wanted to tell, and I did not know exactly how to tell it. And I kept talking myself out of telling the story because what money, what skills, I've never written for film. I don't know anything about film. Film is scary, but I knew that I had a story to tell and that film would be the best medium. And so the tip for today may sound a little bit harsh, but I think it's the best way to become an active theater maker. And the tip is shut up and do it. That's really the tip of the day. If you were expecting something more lovely and more wonderful, I'm sorry, but that's the tip. The tip is to shut up and do it. As actors, we talk a lot. It's so much talking. It's so much pompous. It's so much, this is the school I went to, and I have this degree, and this is who I know, and this is what I do. And I notice a lot of times that the people who are the honest theater makers, the people who are the movers and the shakers, don't have time to talk because they're so busy doing. I think a lot of times we talk ourselves out of things. I think we talk ourselves into corners. I think we talk ourselves out of our destiny sometimes. So something that I live by is less talking, way more doing. So here are a couple tips. If you have an idea, if you have something that you want to birth, if you have something that is one of those, I have an idea, I just don't know where to start. You actually do. It's about trusting yourself. It's about telling yourself that fear has no power here. And it's about doing. Less talking, more doing. So my first tip, I like to call it making a date with a daydream. Outline, free associate, daydream. I think naturally, when we have an idea that's huge, the first thing we start thinking about and plotting towards is the logistics portion of it. So where's the money going to come from? I got to create a budget. Who am I going to hire? Who is the staff? What actors? What venue? And we kind of kill the dream before we dream the dream. There will be plenty of time to worry about numbers crunching. There will be plenty of time to worry about the cast, the food, the venue. But what about allowing yourself to dream the dream? So I remember when I was first writing Steve, and there was a scene that I wanted to do in a restaurant. And I was like, how do you get people to let you have access to a restaurant? I don't know. Like, do I have to buy everybody in the restaurant a drink? How do I? And my producer said, just write the story. Let me worry about that. So I started making dates with daydreams. Find a place that you love, that is calm, that is quiet. Light some candles, play ocean waves in the background, wear something slinky and comfortable, and allow yourself to daydream, free associate, outline the dream. And I'm talking about the most extreme version of dream casting, the most extreme version of like, if money was not an obstacle, this is what I want my show, my one-woman show, my film, my piece of theater to be. You're just trying to spark joy, right? So write down whatever colors you see. Write down whatever you smell. If songs come to mind, write them down. If movies come to mind, if you want your piece of art to feel like A Little Mermaid or Ratatouille, write that down. Really get inside of it. Cast the perfect actors. Set it at Windsor Palace or Buckingham Palace or somewhere outstanding. Just allow yourself to dream big. You will have plenty of time to think about logistics, but there's something about living inside of the world that you want to create and manifesting it and seeing it that sometimes you are writing the vision. You never know. You might look back at that list after you've created the piece of art and say, oh my God, we actually got Tom Cruise to do it. That was just a dream, but I manifested it. You may spark something new in your mind. You may spark something that sparks something else. It's all about putting away the logistics, putting away the money, putting away the challenges, and allowing yourself to live in the beauty of the dream, in the beauty of the piece of art you want to create. So as you're creating, keep making those dates with daydreams. If you have a very challenging day, if you have one of those where we don't have enough money or the budget is challenging or schedules are getting challenged, go back and make another date with a daydream. Go back and revisit those things that you wrote down on that first day in your beautiful land and world of free associating and outlining, because those are the things that are going to keep you grounded. Those are the things that are going to remind you why you set out to create in the first place when the budget gets challenging and schedules get challenging. We want to make sure that we are always focusing on the reason why we're here. So that's the first tip: outline, free associate, daydream. The next tip, we all know this one, accountability. You need a person. Get yourself a person. Now I said a person, not 17 people. Remember, we're doing and we're not talking. We're doing. You need an accountability partner. And it's someone who possesses a lot of the skills that you may not necessarily have. A lot of times when we think accountability partner, the first person is like, I need my best friend. It's not always the best friend. For me, my accountability partner, who became my producing partner, who I kind of peer pressured into directing my short film, he knew all about budgets. deadlines, calendars. I was the free, flower child. I have an idea about a short film, and I needed someone to hold me accountable and to be the yin to my yang. So find someone who is going to challenge you. Make sure that person also has the space to be your accountability partner, because that's big. Sometimes we bring a person into our world, into our piece, and they have enough challenges of their own, or they're trying to create their own piece. So find someone who has the time and space to commit to you. Establish how you all are going to communicate. That is very big. A lot of times we bring people into our world because we love them, because they are people that we've known for a long time, but this is a new working relationship and a new environment. So you have to establish, how are we going to communicate with each other? Are we texting people? Are we emailing folk? Are we Marco Polo folk? Are we TikTok folk? Maybe we dance it out. That's how we communicate. Whatever you do, have to decide on what you do, how you do it. What's the best way for you to be seen, heard, and affirmed, and for them to be seen, heard, and affirmed. Once you have your accountability person, deadlines, 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 deadlines. I live and die by deadlines. When we talk and we talk and we talk, but we don't have those pillars to keep us accountable, that's how we talk ourselves out of the opportunity. That's how we talk ourselves out of fulfilling the dream. So when I make a deadline, or I like to say, like, if I'm doing a one-woman show, the moment that I set the date and the venue, I start getting nervous because I'm like, oh crap, now I really got to do it. Set deadlines and make them deadlines that are realistic. If this is a new venture, if this is a new world, 6 weeks might not be real. 6 months might be realistic, but plan that thing out. Tent poles. Say, this is actually the key. It's setting small, tangible goals every day and every week that will help you build to that 6 months, that will help you build to finally fulfilling the dream, finally bringing it to life. If you start small, every day, it could just be one thing. Today, this is what I'm going to do to help me get towards that larger deadline. Set a goal, write it down, and when you do it, celebrate the small wins. Celebrate that Monday, I researched. Tuesday, I scouted venues. Wednesday, I called 3 possible producers. The next day, I made a date with the daydream. Just set small tent poles, but keep working towards that larger deadline. If you're an actor, if you are someone who is trying to be more of an aggressive theater maker than a passive theater maker, it's a new world and it's a new territory and it's very scary. And at times you will feel like you don't have all the tools that you need. So take it really slowly. Take it really slowly. One day at a time, one goal at a time. Work toward those larger deadlines. Work toward those larger tent poles, and you will achieve success. So far, just to go back, we are outlining free associating and daydreaming because we're keeping the joy. It's going to get challenging. That budget's going to get out of control. You might run out of money, but we'll worry about that later. Today, stay inside of the joy. Accountability, get a person, not a lot of people. You don't need 12 people. You need one good person, 1 or 2. Keep it small. Keep it to people who are for you, who love you, who support you, who challenge you, and who will make space for you, that you and them will be seen, heard, and affirmed. Then set deadlines, small goals every day, check those things off, and celebrate the wins. Turn up, twerk, drink some wine, eat some chocolate, have a French fry, whatever you need to do, because that's what's going to sustain you, is those small wins that are going to build to that bigger win. And I think the last thing, pull your resources. We don't always tap into those folks who are left and right of us, who are incredibly talented. And a lot of it is reframing the way we think about our friends. One of my closest friends, Crystalline Lloyd, amazing actress, original Broadway cast of A Dear Evan Hansen. And every time I go over to her house, she's cooking. And it's massive cooking. And I remember when I was preparing for my short film, and I was like, oh God, every day people got to eat food, and I got to get craft services every day. I said, Crystalline, she loves to cook. Crystalline, would you mind catering a meal on set so I don't have to pay the Chinese place down the street to feed everybody? Pull my resources. Thought about my acting friend in a different way. She doesn't know she's a chef, but she is. So I brought her into my circle as caterer and chef for my short film. It's about really talking to the people who are left and right of you and challenging each other to grow in new, found and different ways. Yes, we are all actors, but we also do 12 and 17 different things. You might be a producer at home, but you also took stage management 12 years ago, and you still got the tools. You might need to shine them and polish them up a little bit, but we can all do so many different things. And I believe that in being more aggressive theater makers, it's also about being more aggressive in who we are. I'm a writer, but I can also produce. I can also make a mean bowl of chili. I can also beat a mean face. I'm a makeup artist. I am also a jokester. I can be a comedian. Pull your resources, pull the resources of those around you, challenge those around you, build a community of, we're all aggressive and active theater makers. We're all creators. We're all changing the world one day at a time. And then just grant yourself grace, y'all. It's gonna be an uphill climb. Whatever you decide to create, show, musical, film, feature, short, whatever, it's going to be an uphill climb. But if you grant yourself grace, if you take it one day at a time, if you give yourself small, tangible goals to accomplish every day, surround yourself with a supportive community, tap in to who you are, make a date with a daydream, remind yourself of the reason why you're here going through the mud in the first place. I promise you, you're going to come out on the other side and know maybe you didn't meet the fancy producer in Central Park, but you found something even greater. You tapped into your own power. You realized how bad you are. You became a more active theater maker, a more active creator, a more active human being and citizen in the world. And then you'll know that the sky is the limit, that you can do anything you set your mind to. So that is how you shut up and do it. Thank you for coming in.
Iman, everybody. I have just been like, I have shut up, and it takes a lot to get me to shut up. That was incredible, and what a way to go out. What a way to have our last day of the challenge, because so much gold in every single one of those steps that you took to do something that I just want to remind everybody, you had never done it before, ever.
Ever. No, I've never written any kind of movie, short, nothing. No.
Incredible. Amber is going to jump back in that VIP room and answer more detailed questions on how you can shut up and do it. We'll say hello to her later. So if you want to jump back in to Amber, look at these amazing comments. That was Kate Rockwell, actually. I got it right. Look at all this. The chat is blowing up with these incredible comments from all of you. Yeah, she is an unbelievable woman. She's an unbelievable theater maker, entrepreneur, actress, all of it. In fact, she's so good. What she just did in that 10, 15 minutes, we are having her do a full-on masterclass for us. We haven't titled it yet. Maybe we'll just title Shut Up and Do It. On how to do what she did, on how to conquer the fear, on those specific steps, on all of it. She's doing a full masterclass for us, which will be in the Theater Maker Studio in the next 30 to 60 days. So join the Theater Maker Studio, and you will get more access to Amber and her very specific process. We're going to go through it in a very detailed manner. And she'll join a whole bunch of other masterclasses we have in there. We like that one. Yes, so helpful and hopeful. Yes, great energy, outstanding. Thank you. Need more theater makers like you. I love it. I'm so glad you're getting so much from all these folks. It's really just been an honor to bring them all to you this week. And I just want you to know that we should turn on my camera when I'm these speakers are going on, because I'm just like this. Yeah, that too. And then I'm like grabbing notes and then just like writing stuff down. So I'm got a whole like crap load of stuff to do next week as well, thanks to that. And speaking of people giving me stuff to do, what a perfect transition to my next guest. Because listen, when Broadway stars and Broadway producers like this guy need help with branding and logos and web design and that whole big M marketing, this is the guy who they call. And I brought him on, and I mean that literally. He's doing work for me. This is a guy who I've hired to help me as I look to take charge of my 2021 and beyond. And he's the guy to do that. So please welcome branding expert, social media website extraordinaire, Mr. Tony Howell.
Ken Davenport, thank you for having me. And now the world knows we're collaborating.
I know, we're working together.
I would like to thank you for being the officiator of my wedding to Kate Rockwell. So
you're very welcome. You're very welcome. I'm just quicking divorces as well if it doesn't work out.
Kate and I will talk about it. We'll see if it works.
I'm going to let you.
All right, now that Ken is backstage and it's you and me, you all, this team has been incredible. I've actually been peering in every single day for the challenge. So I want you to give a gift to them in the comments in the Facebook group. Tell them how much you have enjoyed this challenge and thank them for their incredible work. While you do that, I'm going to share my screen with you because Ken said share one tip and I tend to put on a show. So here we go. Hopefully this does well. I want to talk to you today about magnetism. And the catalyst for this was the pandemic. I was in Bali at the time, and I was seeing that people were going live every single day at 9 a.m., 9 p.m. And there was so much push happening out there in the world. Everyone, because we were all stuck at home, felt the need to be our own talk show hosts, our own radio stations, whatever it might be. And if you look at the byline, it's balancing pull and push, because the truth is that you do need push. You do need to reach an audience, but we also need to have a little bit of pull. So to start us off with one of my clients, one of my favorite quotes, "You are a speck of dust. But on the flip side of that, the whole world belongs to you." So Sherry Renee Scott said that in her Tony-nominated one-woman, three-woman show, Everyday Rapture. And I love the duality of this. And there's also a duality with the pull and the push. So to show you that visually, here you are, the speck of dust on the left side of the screen. And on the right, we've got the big world or the small world, however you view it, filled with about 8 billion people. I believe when you are tuned in, tapped on, turned on, doing, not just talking, you begin to radiate with magnetic energy that is undeniable. People say there's something special about that person. Finding that is a whole other thing, but if you just imagine that the world to the right is filled with 8 billion people, and we know the power of one, what I want you to see today and hopefully remember is that you can never talk to 8 billion people. Daniel can't do that. Ken can't do that. Tony can't do that. Oprah can't do that. Amber can't do that. However, what we want to do is attract the right people to you. So there is a phrase in marketing, right message, right time, right people, right offer. We want to create more pull rather than pushing and trying to reach 8 billion people. We want to pull the right people to you and take care of those people as your audience. Making sure, all right, everything is working all right. No one's messaging me any challenges. So to see that visually, here is the push. You are trying to go out there and push your work onto them. The pull is bringing people to your work, to you. Said another way, push marketing has a tendency to be all about you. Pull marketing has a focus on your audience, your customer, your consumer, whatever we want to call them. It's focused on them. Push marketing is traditionally called outbound. You are taking your work out to the market. And pull marketing is inbound. The market is coming to you. People are coming and showing up to see your work. So we're going to focus on all of these, and I'll stack them for you. But one more that came to me this week is that push marketing has a tendency to be external. We perform, we do the theatrics, we do all of the fancy marketing with a capital M, and pull marketing is branding with a capital B. And it's the internal work to figure out what makes you special, what makes you different, why people should care, what's in it for them. So there is a lot of internal work to create the pull to attract the right people to you. So here on Push, I want to bust a myth today. Social media, I say that and I catch myself. Daniel now has signed by CAA. But there is a myth that for everyone, social media will make you rich and famous. And I'm here to bust that it's not the total truth. Because It's a tool, just like the telephone. Just because you have a telephone doesn't mean you're going to make lots of money. It's what you do with it. So push marketing has a tendency to be all about you pushing your work out there and trying to like really put on a big show. And the trouble with that is with Disney Plus struggling with retention, and Netflix and Hulu and Apple Plus, all these streaming platforms are competing for attention. So Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, Clubhouse, they all want you to be their free employee, to entertain their audience. So you can be a filmmaker for Facebook, radio host for Apple, and a newspaper for Twitter, if that's what you want to do. If that's the stories and how you want to tell stories, go for it. There's a lot of power in that. But what I want to highlight here is when you're pushing, you are taking your work to a crowded stadium of 8 billion people, and it's very noisy. On the flip side, or finding the duality, if you bring the right people to your space and everyone who shows up is interested in being there. So all that to say, there's power in push. It's still going to happen. Those of you that are theater makers, the future that I see is that you'll be able to sell tickets on Facebook and Instagram, sell merchandise on Pinterest. Because of new laws like the GDPR, Facebook and Google, all these platforms are going to be losing access to make all of their money on advertising. So they're looking for new revenue streams, and they want you to then be their retail shops. So instead of paying service fees to Ticketmaster, they will be getting a credit card percentage of ticket sales through Facebook and Instagram and other channels. So push marketing is not going away, but what I want to caution you on is you will face burnout, or it is a trap you could fall into, whether it's your resources of time, money, or energy. So on the flip side, let's examine pull. Pull is about bringing them to you, bringing them to your space, doing the internal work to make something that people say, oh, wow, okay. So old school, it's getting people to go to the mall to buy jeans, or showing up physically to your theater to see your show. And even if that's digitally now with Zoom, it's bringing people to you. How you create pull is you create a more premium, luxury, elite, stand out, different, something special about the work. And so it is branding. But the one thing I also want to share here that I see happen left and right with artists and entrepreneurs, do not discount your worth, your value. The moment you lower the price, I'll do it for free or I'll do it for next to nothing, it diminishes the pull. So stand in what makes you different and special and powerful and unique, and stand in your value. And that is one automatic way to create pull. Down in the lower right corner, I have my website address with a special link I created for you. I have more tips to share how to create pull, but I'm conscious of time and I have lots to share with you. So if you're taking notes, make sure you write that down. Here's the truth. You've got to equalize. Seth Godin calls this tension, having push and pull. It's the moment you're at the checkout going, oh, should I get this? Should I not? Oh, I don't know. You've got to have both. So some of you might be a little pushy and you might need a little bit more pull. Some of you may have no push at all and you need a little push to add a little push to what you're doing. So I want to just wrap up by remembering that we got to have pull and push. You got to bring people to you, but you also have to push out to them. Meaning people show up to your theater. Maybe you want to offer them refreshments. Maybe you want to offer them merchandise. So we find pull and push. We've got to balance them and you. Just because you want to make vegan cookies, why do they want your vegan cookies? So we've got to figure out what's in it for them. Inbound and outbound. Yes, you can reach millions of people. However, will they pay your bills? So inbound is bringing people to your work and the right people saying yes to you. And internal and external. It's really fun to change your fonts and colors and do all of that. But what's the why behind it? We've got to really look at why you're different and special and why people should care. And that's some of the internal work. One final little quote, again, because some of you might need a little bit more of the push because you're shy, you don't like marketing. I heard this recently and I was like, ooh, that's good. If you are not selling, nobody is buying. So if you don't have the courage to put your work out there, of course nobody's buying, no one's saying yes. So you got to have a little bit of push, but be careful that we don't get too pushy. We want to have a little bit of pull. I called you a speck of dust earlier. Well, I won't curse, I want to, but you're an effing star, okay? I want you to see yourself here. There's no one else in the universe that is like you. You are a miracle. How we get other people to see that is through branding. We share your humanity and we get people to see that in you. The next step, since you're only one person in the universe, today I'm in Mexico, in order for people to visit you 24/7 and around the world, you create a website. It is your digital hologram. It is your 24/7 manager, publicist. It's your team, and people get to meet you 24/7. While they're there, hopefully they send you a message or your team a message, and they're like, I'd really like to work with you. Yes, some business can start in DMs or on social platforms, but when it comes to contracts and where to send the check or what bank account to deposit it in, that's usually done through email. So don't lose out on your email. Focus on it. Then we get into the fun and shiny world of social media. So I look at social media like the telephone, and each room is different. So I have not included TikTok on this screen or Clubhouse or Pinterest or Spotify. There's obviously a lot of tentacles to social media. I watched my octopus teacher last night. It can be overwhelming, but you got to do some of the more important work first in order to see success, like Daniel was talking about, have your craft, then you can focus on the business and the marketing side of things. So when I was in Bali, some of you will laugh, but I had this moment of going, oh my goodness, my work is connected to the chakras. Now this is Roy G. Biv, but there is some synergy and magic here of like, just the way that these things align. So hear me out. You started in this business, the business, because you felt a higher calling. Some little voice said, you should maybe make a short film. You should maybe be an activist in this important year. You should maybe, and when you take a step in a direction, it's Simon Sinek's why, it's Oprah's intention, it's Ikigai from the Japanese. There is a purpose behind it. Then, in order to get other people to care, we use the throat chakra to share who you are with branding. Then we also want to tap into the humanity of someone else, put their name on a ticket or whatever it might be to make them feel special. Then people visit your heart, your home. You welcome them. You say, thank you so much for visiting. Can I offer you water, tea, milk, sugar? And so we offer people things when they visit us on the internet. Then in your solar plexus, this is where things get done. Amber Iman teaching me to do and not talk. That is where things happen. So do not let your email life and practices suffer. Some of my clients and students and friends are in the chat. They will tell you, I will make you look at your email before we look at your social media. Then we look at your social, which is the root chakra. It is the telephone. I like to joke, it will tickle you in all the right or wrong ways, but that is where you have to have the other things organized in order to make the difference. Really quickly about my story, I moved to New York in 2009. I was a temp at Music Theater International. They were so wonderful to me, allowing me to climb up the corporate ladder, how to succeed in business style. And that's really where I first got my marketing chops. They let me work as an actor and come back, work on the road, come back. Well, I saw Newsies and there was a bookmark in the playbill that said, share your story. And it was the first time I saw Broadway using social media to create user-generated content. I went back to my boss and I said, we need to teach our clients and customers how to use social media because they need younger subscribers and butts and seats. I've worked all around the place and all I see are busloads of gray hairs coming into these shows. How do we get people in these seats? So through the work of Howard Sherman, Ken Davenport with his incredible work on Godspell, and Telly Leung killing it. And then also next to normal, what they did with Twitter, I started to write a series of articles. Well, then I booked a job. They never got published, but this is the catalyst for the work that I do today. All this research that I did for MTI. Fast forward to 2021, I've been in business now for 7 years. We have clients at every level, every genre, everywhere in the world. But what I want you to know and remember is that we teach the artist how to become a healthy CEO. I want you to be the boss, to lead your company with the why and the vision that Amber talked about. Get your how people so that you can make the what. This is why I'm on the planet. So before I wrap up, I got to run because we are over time. I want to give you some tangible examples of creating pull and push. So celebrity example first. On the right, you all may know Roma Torre, New York One theater critic. If you don't know the story about New York One, you should Google it and share your thoughts of why she's no longer working for the company. However, what I would like you to know is that when we sat down with New York One, when I first started working with Roma, they were like, okay, what's your strategy, Tony? I said, well, I'm a firm believer in quality over quantity, and I'm gonna, really work with Roma to figure out what we put out there. And they said, that's great, but we pay $1 million consultants to let us know that we need to post X times a day, So I met with Roma after that and I said, Roma, we need to translate. They are the news. It is their job to post that many times a day to keep people informed. You get to decide what you want to share because it's your personal brand. On the left, the ubiquitous Nathan Lee Graham, he recently in a podcast conversation and personal conversation told me, Tony, I actually grow more followers when I don't post all the time because people are actually interested in what I do next. So if you emphasize quality over quantity, if I only hear from you once every 6 weeks as opposed to 6 times a day, it can pay off, but you have to find the blend and you need both. How? Well, the next slide. Christine Cole, the founder of Flawless. She is a dear friend and client, and it was Thanksgiving. And I said, Christine, what do you want to post? What do you want to publish? She said, I want to share my cranberry salad. I want to share my turkey. I want to share my pumpkin pie. And I said, Christine, Thanksgiving is on Thursday. That's a lot of writing to do by Thursday. What if you just post a picture of your spread and you ask people what are their Thanksgiving traditions? So instead of making it about you and macro content and putting on a big thing, what can we do micro content to allow other people to come to you and to participate? Christine is also a restaurateur. She's owned, managed, and operated New York City restaurants for 20 years. And in our podcast conversation, we talked about her journey. But there is a balance of inclusivity and exclusivity. We want to create an inclusive world. Exclusivity is great for business. You can't get into Hamilton. It's sold out. You can't get into this restaurant it's got a waiting list. You want to wait 30 minutes. So one of her restaurants, Bond Street, did well because there were 3 floors. You could get a table and they would only open the 2nd or 3rd floor when needed. So you felt special and you were at a busy, popular place. One of her other restaurants, White Street, was such a large room. While grand, it didn't feel as special and exclusive. So it was harder to get people to keep coming back. A few more. I'm glad y'all are loving it. I see the chat. Thank you so much. Some of you may be service workers. So gratuity. Asking versus suggesting. When I was in college, I worked at a coffee shop, and every day my grandfather would drive through and would put a couple of dollar bills in my tip jar. And he told me, Tony, if people see that, they will donate bills. And it's true. I'm in Mexico now and I see tip jars all over the place, and there's a few peso coins. If you are in the service industry and you have a tip jar, put your own money in the cup to start your shift. And I believe you will see a higher ROI because you are suggesting versus asking. Final tip, theater makers. Show. You all have a show. You have a film. You have something. You do need to do some publishing. You got to get the rack cards. You got to have Roxy Red in Times Square handing out your flyers. You also have to come up with a social media strategy. It is necessary. On the flip side, creating pull. What can we model from the hospitality and the travel industry? Letting people know that there are only 10 seats left for the opening night performance and only 2 in the front row. This is how we could get people to say, oh, I better say yes. Or how many people are looking at this site? Or how many people have seen the show? How many 5-star reviews? So thank you so much. Thank you to Ken for having me. Get me out of here so you can wrap up. But if you want to check out the slides, I do have more detailed notes for you at that link. And I hope I get to see some of you in the VIP room. That's what I got. Let me hit exit, make sure I'm in the right place. Ken!
Tony Howell, everybody. There he is. Look, these Facebook comments have been blowing up. I love it.
Oh, good. Good.
Tony is going to jump back into the VIP room and answer more questions for you on all these marketing, branding, social media, email things. I just love his holistic approach to it. It's just not business. It's perfect for theater makers. It's perfect for artists like you. It's why I'm using him. Put a little more art. I can be a little businessy. I'm going to put a little more art in a lot of the stuff that we do in the design of my websites, etc. So look for that. Okay, this is a jam-packed day 5. Still haven't done my tip. If it sounds like I'm out of breath, it's because it is. Someone just was at the front door and I had to go check who the heck it was. So I ran and made it back. That's why I'm out of breath. But we're gonna get to my tip right now. If again, reminder, Tony and Amber, I think, is still in the VIP room. If you want to go get a mini branding consult right now for $48.50 and send a kid to a show, click the link in the chat right now. Go ahead. I won't be offended. You can watch me on replay. It's no problem. I'd much rather a kid go see a show. Okay, so now me. We're going to get to, this is one of the most common things I hear from people. The biggest objections they have about shutting up and doing it, about planning a strategy for social media, about writing the play or the musical that they've always had in their mind, that they've never put on paper, or self-producing their own work, whatever it is. The biggest objection, guess what it is? What do you think is the biggest obstacle facing theater makers like you? What is the biggest thing that I hear that, oh, this is preventing me from doing it? Anyone have an idea? Anyone have an idea on what we ask all the time? I tweeted this earlier today. I think we all need to talk to our people and find out what do they want or need or what are they struggling with. What do you think is the one thing that people say is preventing them from spending or getting fear? Time. This is the biggest one. Time. If only I had time. If only I had time. If only I had time. And it's true. I just saw someone put money, time. Time is the most valuable resource we have. Absolutely the most valuable resource. And it's scarce. It's scarce. Life is short, right? Life is short. And we have so much more to do these days than ever before. I mean, Tony just talked about email and about 17 different social media platforms. 2 years ago, half those social media platforms didn't exist. Now we have to find the time to be on them. We still have to find the time to write that play, write that musical, design that website, whatever it is we want to do. So I said to myself, this was my issue too. For years, I was like, oh, if only I had the time. If only I had the time. I don't say that anymore. If ever I find myself saying, oh, if only I stop myself and say, how can I find more time? How can I find more time? Or, I'm going to share my screen now. How do I mine more time? Because I believe more time exists in everybody's schedule. Everybody has more time somewhere. And I know you're like, no, Ken, I am jam-packed. Well, this is what today's tip is all about. I want to share with you a very easy way to mine more time, okay? And I know, look, some of this stuff I'm going to get into right now is going to be a little bit tough love. It's a little tough love day, right? You got Shut Up and Do It from Amber, and I'm going to tell you that I don't have time is often an excuse. It's often an excuse because let me tell you something. Everyone's busy. And in fact, you know who the busiest person? This guy is busy, right? So however we all feel about being busy, this is a busy guy right now. This is a busy guy. And I was so taken on Wednesday when I was watching the inauguration and actually the buildup to the inauguration. I was so taken by this. The busiest person on the planet, arguably right now. And this is what he found time to do before the most important and perhaps the busiest day of his life. He found time to go to church. because this is what's important to him. He found time to do this, right? He's making time. He's mining time. He's setting priorities, as someone just said, big three, whatever you want to call it. And he's finding time. And if Joe Biden can find an hour on Inauguration Day to go to church, right? And some people may say, it's a photo shoot. Yeah. Marketing. Look, there's a part of it. But if you know him and have read about him, you know this is a very important part of his life. He found the time to do it. Now, here comes the tough love part. If you ever find yourself saying, I don't have the time, I don't have the time, you know what it really means? It really means is you don't want it badly enough. If you can't find the time to do something, you don't want to do it badly enough. It's that simple. And that's okay. Sometimes when I say I can't find the time, I actually have been like, oh, I shouldn't do that then. That's something I actually don't want to do that badly. So stop, take it off the list, cross it off, right? Let's make my life easier. Let's save time. I'm not going to pursue that goal because I don't want to find the time. It's a great filter. It's a great algorithm, like we talked earlier this week when Vivek was here, okay? I know this is like many of you have been saying like, oh, I say that sometimes. Don't beat yourself up. We all say it. I say it every day. Oh, if I only had 5 more minutes. So you find 5 more minutes. You find 5 more minutes, okay? And look, I see this as well. True, agreed. I'm so glad to hear that. Please don't be offended by this because I'm right there with you. And it's day 5. We're running out of challenge time. I got to give it to you straight. And if Joe Biden can find time, you can find time too. Look, I'm a busy guy, right? I've got a business. I've got multiple businesses, actually. I've got shows I'm developing. I've got a wife. I've got a child. I was my dad's caretaker before he passed last year. Like, I get it. Shortage of time is real. So you have to find it. You want some other examples, by the way? J.K. Rowling, read her story about how she found the time to write Harry Potter. John Grisham, read the story about how he found the time to write The Firm. But look, I know many of you are saying like, I'm different. I don't have time, Ken. You don't understand. I'm going to give the big tip today is to perform a time audit of your life. That's it. Whenever you find, and I do this all the time, whenever I find myself saying I don't have the time, I do my time audit. And it's very similar to that process that I described when I free associate a bunch of ways to get a goal to the next level, right? To get a goal to the next level. And I come up with like 10 ideas. Remember, I did this the other day about the crime podcast, interview detectives, Google, like all that stuff. I do this with time. And I do this by saying, like, what are things that I can do right now to save me time? And I puke up a whole bunch of things that I can do to save time. And here's what I did. So I keep notes. I'm a very electronic person. So I use lots of different, I use stickies. I use a great piece of software called Evernote, very popular for note taking. I email myself. I do lots of stuff. So I found a time audit that I did from 2014, and I'm going to share it with you now. So I found myself saying, I have no time. So I stopped myself. I took 10 minutes, put it on the clock, and said, what are 10 ways that I can find more time? What are 10 ways that I can find more time? Are you ready to see what I came up with in 2014? You ready to see the 10 ways that I came up with to find more time in 10 minutes, by the way? I was under a time crunch. Here is what I came up with. Some of these you may be able to take for yourselves. Other, you're going to be like, what is he talking about? It doesn't matter. This is an example of what you need to do if you ever find yourself needing more time. Set all my meetings to 30 minutes or less. This is a great one that has stuck with me to this day. Google defaults to setting like hour meetings, Google Calendar. I set mine to 30 minutes. Instantly, I saved 30 minutes. It just gives a little compression. Some went over, of course. But I started telling my assistant 30 minutes only and tell the other person Ken has 30 minutes. Or I tell the other person, hey, I got 30 minutes before this. I got 30 minutes to share with you. That's it. Get to it. Next one, reduce social media scrolling by half. The iPhones have a great screen time built-in app that tells you your screen time for the week. Set that on. You'll get a weekly update. Try to beat it by half. Boom. Hours saved right there. We're going to keep going quickly. Take shorter showers. This is an actual tip that I wrote to myself in 2014 because I can just like lay in there. I mean, I sometimes it's a great brainstorming session. I came up with the board game, the idea for the board game, Be a Broadway Star. If you don't know it, we'll throw it in the link. Be a Broadway Star is a board game. It's on Amazon. I created it. I came up with the idea in the shower. So I get some creative ideas done in there, but I found myself just like, it's early in the morning, like delaying getting to work, that thing. Take shorter showers. I can find 5 minutes. Get a second monitor. You see me doing this? I have a second monitor right here. You know why I have a second monitor? I read an article in Entrepreneur Magazine that said having a second monitor increases your productivity by 10%. Proven, right? You can have email open here. You can have a website here. So when you're writing and need to do research or final draft here and your research up here, like you can do this. It saves time. Seconds, but the seconds add up. Second adds up. We're only on number 4. How much time have you saved in your life already? Number 5, decline calls from people who pull me down. This is huge. How many of you out there get phone calls or even email, whatever it is, from people who are just going to do this to you? They're going to make you they're going to complain. They're going to whine. They're going to be negative. They're not going to have the right energy of the people in this challenge, right? They're just going to be they're going to complain about how crappy everything is, right? They're never going to succeed. Decline. Ignore. Take all the emails and throw it in a folder on Gmail. Get it out of your sight. Not only does it eat up time, it eats up your own energy. They're like those Death Eaters from Harry Potter. They suck it right out of you, right? Don't let it happen. Number 6, have groceries delivered. I used to go to the grocery store, pick up some stuff, have them delivered. You save time. It's 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour there, right there. Get up 15 minutes earlier. This one, I started doing this years. I just keep moving it back 15 minutes. I'm doing okay. I still have the energy that I need. Sometimes I have a little too much energy, but get up 15 minutes earlier every day. You'll save an hour and 45 minutes a week. 15 minutes earlier. So don't say, oh, I'm going to try to get up at 4 a.m. and I usually get up at 10. Don't do that. Set it 15 minutes earlier. Watch the difference it makes in your day. Watch what happens. Even if you just spend the time journaling or brainstorming or having that daydream with yourself, right? Number 8, set timers for all my tasks. Oh, this is so great. I imagine I'm taking a test. I imagine I'm taking the SATs. I started doing this one for my blog. I used to write blogs every day. Actually, one of my time-saving tips was I stopped writing every day. But I used to write blogs every day. But then what I started doing is setting 30 minutes. I set a timer, put 30 minutes on the clock. So it's all of a sudden, just because of the timer, instead of writing for 45 or 50 minutes, I would fill the space. And I didn't have a space. I set a very short, I got 30 minutes. I would set something for it 30 minutes after, bam, 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 bam. So whatever your task is, set a timer, get it done, move on. It's amazing how the mind and body reacts to that kind of deadline. Amber talked about that as well. Okay. Number 9, sell my group sales business. Now, this again is an actual time audit from my life in 2014. I used to have a group sales business that was not that successful, and it took up time. And I said to myself one day, I don't want group sales owner on my tombstone. What am I doing? It's just eating up time. I started it for one reason, to sell tickets to my off-Broadway shows because no one else was selling that. Those off-Broadway shows aren't running anymore. What am I doing? There is a version of this for you. I know this is specific to my life. If you have a project that you're like, why am I doing this? Kill it. kill creative projects that you're like, I've lost energy in that. I don't want to do it. Take it off the list. You'll feel freer, lighter, and you will save time. And the last one, send out my laundry. Oh man, did this feel good. This feel good. Send out my laundry. I just sent out my laundry. Yeah, it cost me a few dollars to do this. It does. So some of the things that I may recommend have a little price tag attached. And some may say like, oh, I can't afford to do that. You can't afford not to. What does it take? How much more expensive is it to send out your laundry than do it yourself? I mean, you have to buy the soap, right? You have to have like all that stuff. Okay, it's going to cost you 20, 30 bucks. Now ask yourself, what's your hourly rate? How much are you worth to yourself an hour? An hour. You can't afford not to do this stuff. You can't afford not. This one is a big one because it involves a bigger concept, which I can't get into now, but I do with some of my other clients, it's about outsourcing. It's about if someone else can do what you are doing, even at the level of 75% as good as you can do it, you should have someone else do it. Outsource it. Free up your time to work on the stuff you want to work on. Time is running out on all of us. Get to the stuff you want to get to by hacking time. Do this for yourself. It's amazing. I do this now every time I say the words and every quarter. What can I do? What can I do? What can I do? Outsourcing is a major goal of mine for 2021. And I'm going to give you a tip. I love this company so much and I use it so much. I literally just bought stock in this company. And if you have watched the stock price, it's jumped up because it's exploding. If you don't know what Fiverr is, it's freelancers from all over the world who do everything from edit video to social media posts to financial bookkeeping. I have a bookkeeper. That's in Pakistan that is the best bookkeeper I've ever had so far. He's amazing. So Fiverr is how I found him. So like you can find people to do the things that you've been struggling doing yourself. This bookkeeper, one of the reasons I can say he's just taking work off of my hands and shoulders that I was struggling to do. And I've found more time as a result. So go check out Fiverr. We're going to throw a link in there actually. Check it out. But you can't, again, it'll cost you a few bucks to go to Fiverr and find someone to edit your video or your podcast or build your website rather than you figuring out how to use Squarespace. How many people have tried to figure out doing a website themselves? Don't do that. If that's not your talent or you don't love doing it, don't do it. Figure out how you can pay someone else to do it. But you have to find the time. You can't afford not to. And here's what I'm going to tell you to do. Your homework is to find 5 minutes. And the reason why you want to find 5 minutes a day, that's all I'm going to ask you to do is find 5 minutes a day. Because 5 minutes a day is 35 minutes a week. 35 minutes a week is 30 and a third hours a year. Now, that's just 5 minutes. What if you were to find 10 minutes? 10 minutes a day is 70 minutes a week or 60 and 2/3 hours a year. 10 minutes a day. 10 minutes a day. That's it. What about this? 1 hour a day. If you could find 1 hour a day, one of those top 10 tips I gave could find you an hour, by the way. Setting your meetings to 30 minutes, waking up an hour earlier, 7 hours a week. 7 hours a week is more than 15 days to do whatever the heck you want with, from writing to spending time with your family to working out to doing whatever it is you want to do. It's right there. It's right on your calendar. It's right on your calendar. Okay? You got to find those minutes. This right here is how you take charge of your 2021. That's why I saved it for last. I just found ways that you can save 15 days a year. And when you can control time, when you take control of it, you can control your year and you can control your destiny. Your homework, find 5 minutes. That's it. And I'm going to tell you right now, don't make me come to your house and find 5 minutes. Don't do it. Everyone can find 5 minutes. Everybody can find 5 minutes. Okay, do it. It will domino. You'll find more time than you ever could have imagined, and you will take charge of your year. Okay? Homework time. Homework time. That's the big, listen, this was a big one. This was day 5 of our challenge. This is a long one. Thanks for sticking with me on it. But we've got great stuff. We had great stuff today, right? We had Daniel, first of all. Daniel, with his tip about being very clear about what you're doing and spending your craft on it, like working very hard on every single social media post. Working very hard on every social media post. Your homework from Daniel, join TikTok. You don't have to post anything. I'd argue against posting. You don't have to post anything. Just join it, check it out, start to understand it. Check it out. Okay? Amber, I'm going to take one of Amber's tips. Because she had so much gold there. And Amber's is going to be find an accountability buddy. Find one. Need some help there? Need a hint? There's a whole bunch of them in this Facebook group that just ask somebody. Get up the courage and just ask somebody. This is actually what the Theater Maker Studio is all about. We created it. We're not just a push, Tony Howell. We're not just like masterclass.com, which just pushes out. We're a pull as well. We're about creating a community and establishing conversations, but we find accountability buddies for people. It's what it's about. You can find them right here. Okay? And Tony, what I want you to do for Tony, there's so much we can do there. I want you to do for Tony is just write down all of those chakras. We're going to post that picture back in there and make sure you have a very clear understanding of what are social media platforms you are, email, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So build out your own personal chakra sheet of branding. Okay, do that. Those 3 tips, those 3 pieces of homework, do that tonight. And remember, the prize you're going to win, first of all, is 2 prizes. Whoever we're going to give an editorial calendar just for completing this prize, an editorial calendar from Tony. And the big prize, if you complete that prize and all that homework assignment and all the other homework assignments before it, you will be eligible to win the iPad, which I will announce tomorrow at the end of the day. At the end of the day of our bonus session tomorrow, I will announce the winner live. You have to be on the bonus session to win the iPad. You know why? I want someone to go stand up like they're on Price is Right and go woohoo, woohoo. I want to see it in the chat. So you got to be there. And if you aren't there, we're going to go to the next person and the next person and the next person until we give it away. So show up. You're going to get a notification on Facebook and show up. Do the homework. Post that you did the homework. Pat someone on the back for doing the homework, just like the other 4 days. And you will be eligible to win that prize. And hopefully you'll have completed all the other assignments and eligible to win that iPad, which we're going to give away tomorrow. And remember, the prizes aren't the real reason to do the homework. The real reason to do the homework is that the homework works. It works. That's why I believe it's called homework. It's not because homework is labor. It's because homework works. That's what the word means. It will make a difference on your life and on your theater making. Speaking of that, again, 2 days left to join Theater Maker Studio for free. Someone commented earlier that they've been such a fan of this challenge, and one of the reasons they've been a fan of this challenge is that it was free. We try to bring these kind of opportunities to you whenever we can. It actually costs us a heck of a lot of money to put these things on, but it's my way of giving back, and it's something I vowed to do more of in 2021. But speaking of free stuff, you can get Theater Maker Studio for free until Sunday. Go ahead, check it out. You took a chance on this challenge, and from what I'm reading in the comments, it worked out. Take a chance on this. Take a chance. We know it works. Go in, put your email address in, sign up, give something a shot. See what happens. Okay, just till Sunday night. That is day 5. 90 minutes of a challenge. You guys just ran the marathon getting to day 5. Thank you so much for your commitment, for sticking with me on this. It inspires me to see all of you so inspired to make theater and to make better theater. I will be back tomorrow. Just me tomorrow. Just me recapping all of the tips so you can really have an action plan going forward, and taking Q&A from the audience, including some video folks. Go into the Facebook group and you'll see how you can ask your question live to me. We'll go through it all. We'll wrap it all up, and we will get you poised to have the best year of your theater-making lives in 2021. Thanks for being here. I'm going to go backstage. Don't forget, not too late to join us one more time backstage with Kate Rockwell. I'm jumping in the room now. Thanks, everybody.
Now it's time to take charge of your 2021.